Hello, hello, hello. It's Moe. And if you've been following the story, you know that Houston and I are on a mission to map the microways of the world. What are microways? It's just a catch all term for the footways, the paths, the trails, the sidewalks, the bike lanes, and all those little tiny roads that people take when they're walking or on crutches or on bicycles or scooters or wheelchairs or one wheels, what have you. We have a problem. Cities struggle to keep account of everything. Cities hire consultants, spend a lot of money trying to figure out where all the stuff they have is, what condition it is in, uh, and well, they don't know. We don't know a lot about sidewalks. Sidewalks are actually not very well mapped, which causes a second problem. Routing engines give poor micromobility instructions, which discourages micromobility as a transport choice, and bad navigation instructions put people in danger. There are some other interesting economic outcomes of this, but we'll get to those later. And finally, just all sorts of surveying is probably more expensive than it needs to be. That is not to say that we can do all surveying, but some large subset of surveying tasks, especially those done in cities and suburbs and stuff, are probably things we can improve. Okay, improve how? Great question. Build a highly accurate, rapid, and scalable system to survey and label the world. So if you are following the story, if you are listening to this, you're watching this, you probably know who I am. You know I'm Moe Gevirtz, CEO of BikeIncubator, and I'm working with Houston Bokinski, CTO of BikeIncubator, to create this stuff. You know that we are familiar with speech recognition. And so what we've done here is we've taken together speech recognition and very, very accurate GPS readings in order to label the world. Okay, so we're going to give you a demo of what that means. What does that mean? We're going to pop open GIS here. Okay, let's turn this off and let's talk about what we're looking at here. Okay, oopsies. We're going to do this. Okay, this is going to be a little clumsy. I'm still getting used to the software, but basically here we've got a trace. Why don't we change the color of this trace real quick to make it a little bit easier to see? How about something bright red? There we go. There we go. That's easy to see. So we have this trace, and this reflects some cycling, some data labeling I did today in Berkeley, California. This is the REI on Gilman. You probably will recognize this satellite image. Let's zoom in here. This is the Gilman parking lot here for the REI. And we've got this little piece of neighborhood here. Over here is Santa Fe. This used to be public transit, the key system, and here's Gilman. Okay, so my goal was to test our technology, which we launched. We launched our second prototype last week, or created, or made useful. I don't know what you want to call this stuff. We didn't launch anything. We just now have a prototype. And I thought I would bike around and label the quality of the sidewalks as I'm building the style guide for our processes. Okay, so let's see what we found. What did we find? We're going to turn that off and we're going to turn on all labels. Okay, so this is pretty hard to look at. It's definitely overwhelming in terms of information, but that's what we got to work with right now. We have here private extension cord. Okay, that is where on the sidewalk there is a large bump where someone has gotten this plastic housing to protect the extension cord that they're running out to their car. Okay, low-hanging branches, overgrown bush, car blocking sidewalk. But to what degree is this car blocking the sidewalk? Level 2, which means not quite halfway. All right, not quite halfway. How about here? Lifting sidewalk. What does lifting sidewalk mean? Before we go any further, let's take a look at the next slide here. All right. Now, we've all seen really terrible sidewalks where the thing is mounding up and it's raised a foot or two. Okay, I don't have pictures of that for you right now, even though I did find a few of those. But just look at how subtle this is and how uncomfortable this would be if you're traversing it, say, in a wheelchair. Okay, just a wheelchair. And look at this tripping hazard where my bicycle is over here on the left-hand side. Is that a lot of a tripping hazard? I don't know. It is. In fact, the ADA standard is quarter inch or more is a tripping hazard. This is at the inch and a half level. It's quite bad. The other day I saw a nice lady walking down the middle of the road with those hiking poles around midday. And I asked her, why are you walking down the middle of the road around midday with these hiking poles? And she said, oh, because a few months ago I fell just a few blocks from here on a sidewalk. I tripped and fell and shattered my hip. And so the consequences of bad sidewalks are real. Oops, that you're not supposed to see that yet. Okay, so here we are. We got cracked sidewalk. Cracked sidewalk was that middle image you just saw. Overgrown plants. You know what that is. Okay, this is getting repetitive. This is getting repetitive. This is getting very repetitive. Let's use the Google satellite image real quick just to get a sense of this. I want to show you one more thing here. Okay, this says car blocking sidewalk, and it says 4, which means that by my new standard, I'm developing this stuff still, this car is blocking more than half of the sidewalk, leaving just enough maybe for a person to scooch on by if they are nimble and they don't have to step into the road. Okay? They don't have to step into the road. Okay, how accurate is this system? Well, accuracy comes from a couple different things, but briefly, I want to show you that actually I know this label is off because the car doing the sinning here, doing the blocking, is actually visible in this satellite image. It's not quite clear how much it's blocking, but I assure you it's a level 4, and it's right here, displaced by a few meters. And this is displaced along the axis of the sidewalk. We are using real-time kinematics, a technology that allows you to take in your GPS signal, your latitude, longitude from the satellite with a little antenna, and then it corrects it using the cell network. Okay, it's a service, you can pay for this, it corrects it, and the best quality stuff gets you centimeter accuracy. Okay, it gets you centimeter accuracy. So let's pop out here, and then I'm going to do breadcrumbs, and you can get a sense here that this is actually going up and down the sidewalks pretty darn well. You can see how I did a loop-de-loop here. You can see how I dodged. Here's where I dodged some people. I just didn't bother to go back. Okay, here I did go back a couple of times to catch a couple other pretty serious faults in the sidewalk. Here I retraced my steps a couple of times. As you can see, we're following the sidewalks really well. The inaccuracy in that car label you saw a second ago is actually a function of my script that I'm using to do some alignment. So this is still very early days for us, and there's plenty of room for error in these sorts of calculations. There we are. That's your car blocking the way. And what's happened is the script has inaccurately associated it with this rather than this. You can see I paused here. You have extra breadcrumbs here for my extra time here. This pings once a second, and the label is in the correct place, but meaning the measurement was taken in the correct place, but my processing script is making some mistakes, which we will work on. At any rate, it's better than the last processing script, and so we're improving. Okay, so before I move back to the presentation, what do we have here? We have here a rapid assessment of the quality of the sidewalks in a small piece of Berkeley. How much of a small piece? I'll tell you right now. That small piece is, let's do slideshow. I traveled 2.8 miles, so probably the actual amount of road is a little less, maybe 2.3 miles, 2.4 miles. But I basically traveled about 3 miles an hour to do that assessment. It took 40 minutes to do the survey. Total distance I traveled is 2.8 miles. Average speed is 4.2, but then there's a processing time. I've written a script that allows me to check my labels, and so that took 20 minutes. Total is 1 hour. Label count is 180, and so you take 60 minutes to do that. It's about 3 miles per hour to survey that stuff. Is that really good? I suspect it's freaking excellent, especially if you can guarantee accuracy. I think it's very excellent. Will it perform the same in every kind of neighborhood? Do tall buildings cause problems? Sure, but as a baseline, this is not bad. This is not bad. Okay, who would use this data? Who cares about this? Great question. Well, I know cities and their consultants care, okay, because this is Albany Street Lighting Evaluation, Final Street Lighting Recommendations, published earlier this year, okay. Albany is about a mile by mile and a half, and look at that. these little dots representing where all the lights are and the kind of lights they are. All right. So I wonder how long it would take us to do this. We can measure the number of miles of road here. We can do this. Maybe I'll do this next week, and then we'll ask ourselves: do we think that Ivari spent? How much time did Ivari spend actually doing this survey, and can we add something to this? Can we do whatever they did faster, or can we add data points that they don't have cheaper than they would add them themselves? Okay. Companies do sidewalk assessments with completely car-brained things that make no sense. Okay. Also, this is on a. I'm not even gonna get started. No, I'm just moving back to this thing here. Okay. So cities and their consultants are probably interested in this, but AR gaming companies like Niantic, made famous by Pokemon Go, are probably interested in this. Pedometers, Strava and All Trails, they're probably interested in this, especially Strava. Strava knows that people are or aren't going somewhere. Not because the GPS signals, the GPS data coming over, the lat long data coming over cell phones is very accurate, but because they have such an enormous amount of data that they can do some processing and get a sense of where people are running or not running, walking or not walking, or whatever. What they don't know, however, is the quality of the sidewalks. They don't know why necessarily people are or aren't doing things. Okay, wayfinding and routing. So the first two are software that's meant for blind people, to help blind people, people with certain visual impairments get around. You know Apple Maps, but there's others like Points Mobility, Cyclers, Ride with GPS. There's all sorts of wayfinding and routing companies, apps, consultants that could probably use this data. And of course, there's bike walk accessibility NGOs like Walk SF or League of American Bicyclists. What I'm working on now is getting letters of intent, building a new pitch deck, improving the survey tool accuracy, and studying how cities can think about sidewalk quality and talking with advisors. That's where you come in. Okay, we're looking for investors. We're going to have a good story, a good pitch deck, and an interesting demo. What you saw there, right here, of Berkeley, imagine this, but a little bit better, a little bit more accurate, and targeted for particular audiences, people who are interested in seeing what we can do. It could be consultants, it could be somebody else. I don't know. This is where you come in. Who should we be talking to? Who wants to have the power to survey the world, at least the world that humans inhabit frequently, cities, suburbs, trails, super accurately, super quickly, with a lot of detail, and obviously very cheaply. So thank you for watching this. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you're interested in the technology. Please, if you know how to get a hold of me, send me a message. You probably do know how to get a hold of me. If not, my email is on the screen here. Down in the description, I will put links to related pieces of content we've written up about what we're doing and why we're doing this. Feel free to leave a comment down there. And once again, thank you for watching. Get in touch.